In this video we'll show how you can install a Node NPM package and then create a Node service so that you can call this Node package from within an Alpha Anywhere web application. So let's assume that we'd like to basically use this Node package called I think it's called tinypng.com. So basically this is a Node package. It's actually called TinyFi that we want to use in our web project. So the first thing that we need to do is go to our Alpha application, and then in the web project folder we need to create some subfolders. So we're going to go here to the to Windows Explorer, and then you can see that we've created a folder here called Node, and then inside the Node folder we have two other folders called Node underbar modules and Node underbar services. Now these particular folders here can be created automatically for you depending on the version of Alpha that you're running. You can see if I go here to More, Node, and then you can see here's a command that's going to create the Node folder in my web project and also the necessary subfolders. So I'm going to go ahead there and create those folders, and now what I'm going to do is I need to now install the TinyFi Node module. So I'm going to go back here to Node, and I'm going to say open a command window in the web project folder. So here I am now, and I'm at the command window right now, and I'm inside the Node folder, and inside this Node folder I'm going to see two additional folders, one called Node modules, which is where the NPM packages are going to be installed, and then another folder called Node services, where we'll write the JavaScript code that is called from XBasic to invoke the Node service. So the first thing that we need to do is actually install this Node package, and if we go back to our documentation over here we can see that we need to go here and say npm install and then TinyFi. We don't need -- save because we're going to install this package in our local folder. So in order to use NPM is not installed by default by Alpha, so you're going to need to actually go ahead and run the official Node installer for the 32-bit version of Node. Once you've done that, NPM will be available and it'll be part of your path. So if we go back now to our web project here and then go there, and now if we go here and we say npm install TinyFi, we can see basically Node goes ahead now and is going to go ahead and install the TinyFi module. And so now if I go to cd node modules, I see over here in the Node modules there's TinyFi has been installed. So now we're all set. We've got TinyFi installed, and now we need to go and create a Node service that can be called from Alpha, from XBasic. So let's go now back to the TinyFi documentation and look at, say, the example over here for how to, let's take this example over here, for how to scale a bitmap. So this is the JavaScript code that is needed to run this Node module. So we're going to go ahead now and create a Node service that can be called from Alpha. So I'm going to go now to my notepad over here, and you can see that I've got a file here called tinyfi.js. The name tinyfi.js is irrelevant. It could be called anything. It could be called, say, foo.js. It doesn't really matter what we call it. And this particular file is going to be stored inside the Node services folder over here. So inside Node services we're going to basically go here, and inside the Node services module we're going to see this tinyfi.js file. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video where we discuss how the Node service is constructed. So we're continuing now with our creating the Node service that's going to call this TinyFi module. And the first thing that we want to do is refer to the documentation over here to see what the syntax is. So we can see that the syntax is says from file, and then it has a resize method that takes a JSON object that defines the resize, and then it's basically it has a resized to file. So let's go take a look now at the node services module, the node services script that we've written. So the first thing that you can see we've got over here is tinyfi equals required tinyfi. So this is basically how we load the module. Then tinyfi requires an API key which you need to get from their website. So this is where you would type in the API key, and then the node service needs to export a function called handler. So basically when you call the node service from within your XBasic code, this function is going to get executed, and when you call the function, the data that you pass in is going to be inside the packet object. So if we go back quickly and take a look at the code that we have that's going to actually invoke this method, so let's go back up there and look at this page that's going to call tinyfi. You can see that basically we're going to call the node request function, and the node service that we are going to call is called tinyfi. So this is the name of the .js file that exists inside the node services folder. So if this file had been called, say, foobar.js, then the node service that we would be calling over here would be foobar. And then you can see that basically we pass in as the second argument to the node request function, we pass in this object called request, which has in it basically these properties. It has a dot variable called resize, which has method, width, and height, and then it has a property called infile and outfile. So inside this tinyfi.js node services file that we're going to create, we're going to be able to refer to packet.infile, packet.outfile, and then packet.resize.method, etc. So you can see over here basically we have a function that takes packet, response, and a send request. So this pattern that you see here is how all node services are defined so that they can be called from XBasic. And over here we basically say that we're going to call tinyfi from file, and then packet.infile is the name of the file that we're going to try to resize. Then we're going to call the resize method, and we're going to pass in this JSON object, this object that has the resize properties, and then we're going to say we're going to call the toFile method, and finally we're going to store the file in the name specified by packet.outfile. And then we're going to basically, if there's an error, then we're going to basically respond back with the error. Otherwise we're going to send back the response. So this is our node service that we've written now so that we can call this node module from XBasic. So in order to test this now, I'm going to basically need to put the API key in over here, save this file away, and then I can go and test it out. So let me go now and just quickly go and replace the API key with the right API key, and then go ahead now and save this away. And now basically let's go here and run this file. So before we run this file, let's go here to the command window and check if the Snow Small image is there. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our example on how to call a node module from XBasic, and you can see here that we're going to specify our input image to be snow.jpg. So if we go now over here to the movie images folder here and do a dir snow star.star, we can see that snow.jpg exists, but snow small does not exist. So let's go ahead now and run this this A5W page, and this A5W page here is going to call the node request function to execute the node service that we defined called TinyFi. So let's go ahead now and run this, and we can see now that basically the service is running, and we'll just pause. So now we've resumed, and we can see that we got a response back from the node module that says thumbnail was created. And if we go now and do a dir of snow star.star, we can see that the small image was created over there. So if we go here and say snow, we see here that there's the small image that was created of the larger image, which looks like that. So what we've shown in this video is how a node module can be installed in the project folder. So basically everything in the project folder that is inside this node folder over here is going to get published when you publish your application. So the node modules that are installed inside this node folder are specific to this particular application. And then we've shown how you can create an A5W page that uses the XBasic node underbar request function to call a node service that was written that in turn executes a node module. So the node service that we wrote lives inside the node underbar services folder, and it follows the pattern for node services that has been discussed in other videos. So so what we've shown over here is calling a node module that was installed from NPM, and show how you can easily invoke methods on that node module from XBasic. Thanks very much for watching.